The information provided on lifeinterruptedradio.com is for educational purposes only.
Well, goal setting is one of those touchy topics for people because people want to be free and to experience their life on their terms whenever. And I'm not saying no. We're not trying to cage people in with radical, notebooks full of notes and timings. And I know there are people that thrive on that, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong way. But when I say goal, have a clear vision of who you want to become and emerge in whatever life gives you. If life gives you a diagnosis that affects your health, okay, life has given you something in which to work with. I love metaphors, as you well know, Sharon. I always call out.
You have some of the best ones.
But it helps me see what I make my mind pictures around these things. And one of my favorite mind pictures is the fact that I love watching movies and animated movies. They sort of connects me to the underlying story about life. Things like superheroes, Batman, Superman, all the hero type people who life gave them a tough situation, which for the most part they're hiding from the world. All right? Something devastating happened to them, and they had a choice to make. And for most of those stories that we see, they reluctantly took on the challenge. Okay? Spider-Man was bitten by a spider, some freaky spider, and in order for him to switch on the gift of being that sort of weird-looking thing, his uncle was killed. So there's a tough one. A lot of us can say, yeah, but my child or my husband or my wife passed away. What am I supposed to do? Right? And yes, you're not Spider-Man, but the stories show us that life happens, even to these wonderful, powerful, super people. Superman showed up here and he was a freak, like different than anybody else. Like I showed up in Victoria, different than most people. Who are you? Right? Yeah, no, I didn't come from wherever Superman came from, Krypton or wherever he came from. I came from Ontario. But the feeling is the same, the feeling of being an alien. So what do you do, right? We all have our challenges. We all have our moments, but we also have those moments that life says, in spite of what has happened, in this moment, you have the opportunity to use that as a gift, spiral it up to heal yourself, and thus give other people permission to heal themselves too. What are you going to do? It's a choice. You're either going to choose death or you're going to choose life. There's only two choices. What are you going to do?
Well, tell me a little bit more about spiraling up. I mean, that's such an interesting phrase that some people might be going, I don't know what she means by it. It sounds cool. Sure, I'd love to do that. But what is spiraling up?
Well, if you think of a spiral, okay, it's not a straight shot upward. It's not a straight arrow up, all right? It's an arrow pointing up, and it's sort of compressed, okay? And you can turn it where it goes down too, all right? You choose which way it's going, up or down. So I like to think of it as going up. And it's also about the stages of growth. On a spiral, although it's the intention of it is to go up, it takes a little bit of turning, spending some time at a certain level before you go to the next level of life, right? Or understanding or awareness, I call it. And it is a conscious effort to do that because there are stages of growth, and it depends on where you are on that stage of growth. And where is your consciousness as you're growing? Where is your consciousness when it comes to illness and improved health? Where is your consciousness on that scale when it comes to abundance or lack? Where is it when it comes to healthy relationships versus toxic relationships? So it doesn't matter what part of life we might be struggling with. It's about us stopping in a moment, checking to see where we are. Where's our consciousness? Have we turned that spiral down, or is it pointing up? And being honest enough to answer the question. You don't have to go out and tell a million people on Facebook, oh my God, my life. No, spending time with yourself and answering the question honestly.
Well, something came up for me as you were saying that, and I wanted to get your idea of this because, you say being conscious as we're going on each of these levels of the spiral and continuing and asking ourselves the questions. But sometimes I've known in my life that I faked myself out, shall I say. And I've had friends who would say something, warn me. Let's say a common one, like a boyfriend. You introduce them to your friends, and your friends are just like, what is she thinking, right? And I've learned that whenever my dear closest friends say, sort of like, Sharon, what are you thinking version of whatever their way of saying that is. Some of them, it's a little cruder than others. Some of them just want to slap me upside the head kind of thing. That's okay. That's what those kinds of friends are fabulous for. But, whenever I hear that, I've trained myself to not defend what they say. Like, oh, but you just don't understand him or get it or understand what I'm doing. That's whenever that you just don't understand comes out of my mouth, that or tries to come out of my mouth, that is the message to my brain to say, stop. Your friends are saying that for a reason, and I can reflect back on the past that every time they've said that to me, there's been at least a large element of truth, even if they may have been a little off too. They were seeing things that I was unable to see.
Absolutely. So bless your friends. And you're right, they may not have the delivery down pat, but it's an opportunity for you to receive feedback. It's all feedback. And if you learn to train yourself not to take it personally and look and dive in and see what's being said, and you can still dismiss it and say, no, I don't really agree with that. You don't have to swallow everything everyone throws at you. But it is feedback. And I'll use myself as an example. Just this week I had feedback. It wasn't feedback that I really, really wanted, right? But I said, don't spin off into some weird place. Come back here, okay, and look at it. What is the feedback saying to you? Because life is giving you a message. Look at it. Is it true? And if it's true, what choices can you on board here and start to work on? And that's what I had to do. Not to say all this wasn't feeling a little grungy because it wasn't the result that I wanted. I'm not the wall. I still have feelings, but learning to control those feelings and being grounded and stoic enough to say, okay, this is what was given to me. Let me take a look and let me unpack it and see what I can take and use so I can now grow a little bit further on that spiral.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's so true. I think that happens to all of us where we get feedback, and I found that just breathing through the feedback is also helpful, and being grateful that they gave you the feedback. Like you said, even if you dismiss it, having a moment of gratitude, whether to their face, which is very pleasant and nice, but sometimes maybe we're not quite ready to have gratitude till a moment or two later about it.
If you have to cry, cry. I'm not saying being this hard shell of a person. No, if you have to be emotional about it, do that. But make sure that once you've gotten through that piece, now you're now going to take some time and maybe journal through what it is that you heard or saw or experienced and what is in there for you, because there's always something in there for you if you're willing.
Yeah. When you said that, it brought to mind a mentor seared this in my mind, that he always asked the question, what did you see, hear, or feel that led you to believe? And I love that. It's sort of like, what did you see, hear, or feel that led you to believe, fill in the blank, that, all your friends have disappeared, or that you're overweight or a bad person, or whatever your mind is ruminating on. And I have found that is a great way to bring me back to a sort of a reality check, is like, what did I see, hear, or feel that led me to believe that? Because oftentimes we get these weird beliefs that we just take hook, line, and sinker that aren't based in any sort of reality.
Absolutely. I spend a lot of time, like yourself, interviewing different people, and the people I interview happen to be sort of mentors or coaches in their own right around a particular topic that they excel in. Now, one of the things, and I do the same thing. I'm not just a talking head. I have that kind of business as well. But one of the things I want to tell people about that is, no one can tell you how to do your life, okay? You listen to people talk about life. It's your job to listen, to discern, to take what is for you, and you are being trained how to use the faculty of thought. Any good mentor will teach you the faculty of proper thinking, not how to think. That's two different things. Because I'm not just putting my beliefs onto you. That's a whole different thing. Okay? And if that's what's doing belief exchange, then nothing's being accomplished. Because we all have to be responsible for ourselves. It's about how to use this tool you've been given. This is one of your superpowers, is that. Your intuitive feelings is another superpower. And how do you use that? We have our own tool belt like Batman has. And when you need to pull them out and use them, it's just knowing how to use them. I mean, I think of some of his tools on his utility belt. If he doesn't know how to use those boomerangs, all those things he's throwing, it could damage him or other people, right?
The most crazy picture just came into my mind when you said that.
So it's understanding how to use these things. We think we know how to think. We really don't. We really don't. We just let it run off with us, and then we wonder why we have this pile of mess in the front of us called our life.
The information provided on lifeinterruptedradio.com is for educational purposes only. What you hear, read, and see on Life Interrupted Radio is based on experience only. The information presented here should never be used for any legal, diagnostic, or treatment purposes. Always seek sound legal, medical, and or professional advice regarding any problems, conditions, and any of the recommendations you see, hear, or read here on Life Interrupted Radio. You've been listening to Life Interrupted Radio. To learn more, listen to other shows, and gain free resources that can help empower your life, be sure to stop by lifeinterruptedradio.com.